our agency's so diverse with, so many different positions. Right. You got biologists, you got wildlife officers, you got technicians, you got all kinds of people that do so many great things. So there's a lot to highlight, a lot to cover. So we could be 1 week talking about turtles, and 1 week talking about mussels, 1 week talking about deer, whatever it may be.
The award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. We thank you for listening, first of all, because we're right here at WJJM in their studio, and we appreciate them having us. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. Also, thank you for watching on YouTube, Facebook, out there where you can watch us. We're not always great to look at, but thank you for doing that as well.
I agree.
And that's Mr. Mark Vantera. We'll get to him in just a minute. Just thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being with us. We got a fun show for you today. Kind of a mix-up today. We got a lot going on we're going to talk about.
I know.
But WJJM has been a great partner. Kind of got some of Wildcats started on the radio, so we'll talk more about that today. But excited to have all these folks around the table. Don King helping me co-host as always.
You bet, Jason. And as you mentioned, we're sitting in the beautiful studios of WJJM right here in Lewisburg, Tennessee, and got the man, Mr. Jeff Hayslip, with us today. And
when was the last time you were called a man? We won't go there.
We had a good conversation around his table right behind us here, his desk, and he gave us the idea that spawned WildCast Extra.
Yeah.
The daily version of Tennessee WildCast. So hats off to Jeff this morning, and we appreciate him very much.
I think it's safe to say we could thank him and all our other radio partners for helping us win that second award at ACI this past year.
Exactly. Yeah. And,
I heard about
that. That's good. Yeah, we'll pat ourselves on the back here a little bit, but for a radio show / podcast, a recurring program.
Right.
We won a national award with the Association for Conservation Information this past year.
And you didn't have to pay anyone?
No, not at all.
Wow.
Just the entry fee.
Yeah.
But no, it's great. And without our partners on the radio, keeping the show going, there's no way we could have the show. I mean, it's
exactly
a big part of it is that radio audience. I mean, reaching out to the communities that hunt and fish.
Yeah. Yep. And there's a lot of that goes on around here for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So
I've checked Jeff on a dove field.
Yeah, he has. And I was legal.
Okay.
That was fine. Everything's good.
Hey, real quick, Dovetail, do you have to have a plug in the gun?
Did you ask that? Did you just ask that?
I was just curious. We'll get back to it later.
I'd say you would.
Yeah. But no, Mark Vantera, he's the Marshall County officer. We're here in Marshall County. That's where WJJM is located in Lewisburg, Tennessee. But he's been the officer here for quite a while and took over from Doug Lowry was here before.
You almost forgot his name.
Almost. Had to recheck. He was on our last show here.
Cat Daddy's what comes to mind when I think about it. That's one of his names.
No, Doug, everybody thought the world of Doug here. While 34 years, I think he was here.
Yeah.
So I knew it was going to be tough shoes to fill. But on the other hand, I've been a Marshall County resident for almost 25 years, and it was home. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to come back here, and I knew Doug paved a good road for me.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that is so neat to, you're a big part of the community right here, and that's the way with a lot of our wildlife officers around the state. They find a home and they lock into the community and they teach kids hunter ed as they grow up, and and they're seen and heard and respected in the neighborhoods.
And what I enjoy about working these smaller counties is wherever I go in, somebody recognizes me or I recognize them or I've known them just from living here. And you can sit down and have a 30-minute conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere you go.
And I have a funny story about that. Every time I had seen this guy, when he would come into the radio station or he would check me in a dove field, he always had a cap on.
Uh-huh.
So my wife and I, Missy, we were at one of our local restaurants. This was probably about a year ago. And I keep seeing this guy, kind of you can feel when someone's looking at you. I didn't recognize him. He didn't have a cap on. So he gets up and at some point comes over and starts talking to Missy and myself. And as soon as he opened his mouth, that's Mark.
Yeah.
I had never seen him without a cap.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. He is very much part of the community. And I'm gonna toot his horn a little bit here, and he can pay me later. But
I'm a state employee. You ain't gonna get much.
Okay. Every time that you see Mark in public, he will speak to you, and typically he'll speak to you by name, which I'll have to give him credit for because I'm terrible with names.
Wow.
But Mark is very active with, being out in public, whether he has his uniform on or not.
Right.
Very active. And of course, we had known Doug for many, many years. But knowing when Doug was going to retire, the first question in the back of my mind, because we do, we ask the wildlife officers to come on, promote their hunter education courses, things of that nature. I'm thinking in the back of my mind, how are we going to replace somebody like Doug?
Right.
This guy has stepped right into the role. Is very active in the community. He and his wife both. So I think it was a win-win for everyone.
That's great. That's great.
That's awesome.
And you touched on Mark's wife too,
Yeah.
and that's another big part of our folks. I mean, it's a family deal when a guy gets or a gal gets recruited to be a wildlife officer. The whole family pretty much comes along in a lot of cases.
My wife taught here 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
In Marshall County. She knows a lot of people, more people than I really knew when I first started working here. So yeah, you become all wildlife officers and their families, and the ones that we don't have children, but the ones that do have children, their kids go to the local schools, and that you become entrenched, and everybody knows everybody. And my wife answers the phone a lot. A wildlife officer's wife answers the phone a lot.
I was thinking that. Yeah.
She's my first dispatcher.
Yeah.
And she's heard you answer so many questions. A lot of them she can just answer.
Yeah, and
she doesn't have to call
a
you.
few times a day I'll get texts from her. She teaches in Murray County now, but I get a text. So-and-so wants to know what he needs to get on the dove field today. So she relays that stuff to me, and if she can't answer it.
But if you don't have an officer nearby, tnwildlife.org, and you can find out what you need. That's all right there.
Yeah, good deal.
Well, Jeff, thank you for having us at the station again.
Sure.
We recently shot a show, highlighting the auction and the Hunters to the Hungry auction that y'all sponsor here and host. But thank you for having us. And we've got Mr. Danny Bingham with us today. Hey. He's with Apex Bank, and he is a personality on the radio with you with football, I think we said,
Right.
and you do basketball. But thank you for being a sponsor of WildCast through WJJM. We couldn't do it without you.
Yeah, our pleasure. Jeff approached me with the idea, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I guess now, and we talked about it. And my president is a very big outdoorsman. He loves to duck hunt, any hunting really, but loves to get out in the ducks. And so it was kind of an easy sell when it came to that, and we really have enjoyed it and felt like it's been a good thing for our community here in Marshall County.
Awesome. I'm glad it relates to the county, and it works well for the station.
Yeah,
I mean, it
does.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, absolutely
real good to hear.
does. I guess let's go back in time just for a little bit.
Sure.
I got in contact. I didn't know who to contact. We had, here at WJJM, had always carried some type of a hunting, fishing, wildlife type show. And the current show that we had, they had decided they were not going to have that show anymore. Missy and I were talking about, we, just like you said, hunting, fishing, it's all here in Marshall County and the surrounding counties.
Yeah.
We've got to have something. And she said, why don't you reach out to TWRA? So I got looking on the website, and I finally found an email address, and it was not Don's at the time. It was another young lady that was very glad to help me.
I remember that email coming forward.
Yeah.
I sent the email, and I told her what I was looking for, and if you have someone there that could talk to me, I'd love to talk to you. Now, I'm going to go back in time, and I'm not trying to say that Don is older than me, but Don's a little older than me. I remember hearing Don's voice on this radio station and other radio stations promoting TWRA, it was like I'd heard him all my life. Not really, Don, but for a long time.
A while back,
so
anyway. Yeah.
all of a sudden, I get a phone call one day, and he says, "Hi, Jeff. My name is Don King," and it's like, I'm talking to the President of the United States or something, It's like I'm starstruck. And he said, "Your email was forwarded to me, and I would like to talk to you about what you're looking for." And of course, it wasn't. I think just a few days later,
right?
You said, "Can you and I were emailing back and forth?" And you said, "Can we set up a time to come down and talk to you?" And I'm thinking, who's we? Well, we was Jason Harmon.
Uh-huh.
So we sat around this desk in this big studio here, and we talked about what we were looking for from a radio station. And then you guys explained to me that you already had Tennessee the WildCast program that was a 30-minute program. I said, "Well, guys, I can't do a 30-minute program every day, but we're looking for something for the weekdays." And I remember Don saying, "If we can come up with this, if we can get some type of program that you guys could run on the weekdays, would you consider running our 30-minute program on the weekends?" It's like, I can do that. If we can come up with something that people enjoy, we'll be happy to run the 30-minute program. That's what we do. We run the daily program in the morning and in the afternoon on the drive times, and then we run your show on Saturday mornings for your 30-minute show. But talking with Jason, talking with Don, we spent probably 45 minutes to an hour talking back and forth.
Right.
What if we do this? What if we do that? And it was really, to me, it was so easy to sit down and talk to you guys because obviously you both have the love of the outdoors. I do too. And I'm like Danny, I wish I had more time to spend doing that.
Yeah.
But within a short few weeks, we launched Tennessee WildCast Extra.
Extra, yeah.
And we were tickled to death to be the first station to do so. And now, if you go to the TWRA website, and for the folks watching or listening, I do invite you to go and see the enormous list of the other radio stations that have picked up this program.
Yeah.
And now they win awards.
It's amazing. It's a blessing to have you guys come on board, in the very beginning, and it's great to see how it's growing. And
we consider WJJM our flagship for the WildCast Extra for sure.
Yeah.
I like that. Now, let me be fair.
Sure.
We talked about an hour about the show. I already knew Don was a musician. I did not know Jason was a drummer. So myself being a bass player, then I said, "Okay, guys, we're through talking this. Now let's talk music." And then find out they've got a traveling band that they go around and play shows with. And I'm going, man, that's cool.
we're always needing somebody else. Maybe you can set in sometime.
I'd be glad to. But no, we have really enjoyed the programs. Jason, you and I were talking out in the lobby when you got here this morning, and the number of topics that you guys come up with, and we were talking about the hearing protection, out in the lobby.
Yeah.
And I love that show because that's, kind of down my alley, in-ear monitors and things of that nature. But, folks, when you listen or watch this program, it's going to cover. I mean, I remember you had turtles, talking about turtles.
Mm-hmm.
You've talked about the bears. I remember the bears not long ago. You're going to cover a whole slew of topics, and that's what I like about the program. When it's getting to be like, Mark's, he's going around checking folks now for dove season.
Right.
When it gets to be close to dove season, you guys typically do some sort of program dealing with what do I need if I walk in a dove field?
Exactly.
How do I get to be legal? That's what I really enjoy about the program.
It's a lot of that, a lot of the time of year, what's going on, what's happening. Our agency's so diverse with so many different positions. Right. You got biologists, you got wildlife officers, you got technicians, you got all kinds of people that do so many great things. So there's a lot to highlight, a lot to cover. So we could be one week talking about turtles, and one week talking about mussels, one week talking about deer, whatever it may be.
And when you come to these small counties, their only idea of the agency is their local wildlife officer.
Right,
And
exactly.
When I try to explain to them also that we have people that are biologists and managers and technicians and
IT.
IT people and forestry people and real estate people and they're just baffled because all they see is me or they see Doug walking around and just the game warden.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to that. And I started out as a fisheries technician before I was in law enforcement. So I try to explain all that. But the officers are the face of the agency in their counties, and so it's good to get it out that
Absolutely.
all these things that the agency does for them.
And radio is such a great way to do it because, there's so many people going to and from work and just having the radio on at home or at work, that it's just a great way to communicate. It's just, well,
that's why we chose the times that we chose, Don, is because of drive time.
And we appreciate that.
And that's when people, and I realize and we talked about this the first time you guys came here, we realize people are driving and their time is precious. They have the availability on a radio. If they don't like that programming, they can sure change to another station, and we don't want them to change to another station.
No.
So we understand when we pick programming, it's got to be a professional program, which your guys are the programs that you put out, very professional, that it's interesting. I think you guys bring up great topics. And then, of course, we can't do anything without having our sponsor here.
Exactly.
And like we said with Danny with Apex Bank, those guys have been pretty much with us from the get-go, and we really appreciate what they do. And, with everything, you have to put it out there, and you have to gain a listenership, and we have that now with the program.
That's great. Awesome. That's really good.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Speaking of Danny, you mentioned, or just switch gears just a little bit. Recently, the floods in Waverly.
Yeah.
And you mentioned your bank helped out quite a bit there and helped donate some things. And
we did. We've got a sister branch over there. Matter of fact, that's where my president is usually his office is. And fortunately, the bank itself was not affected by the flood, but everything around it was pretty much.
Yeah.
And we've been from Chapel Hill. We've been going over personally delivering items, and I also want to say thank you to our audience and to the people that have been donating not only money but supplies. It's amazing. And I can get into that a little bit more later. But yes, we've been helping those people out. We've gone over there. I've been over there twice now since the flood, and we're constantly monitoring every day. And what we did, the bank there set up their community center as a resource for food and general supplies, cleaning supplies and things like that. And they coordinated with a lot of the other local I guess the organizers of those type of events at churches and other organizations, and really have worked well with that to get that in. And it's it's amazing. It's in some way very humbling when you go there and you see all of that.
Right.
It's just you walk away with a sense of awe, and you're like, wow, these poor people. I mean, literally, you had people coming in shock. You can still see the shock on their face. And they would ask, can I get something to eat? And of course, that's naturally, well, let's help you get some other things. And what's amazing is they don't know what they need. I mean, I know I need maybe this, but dog food, for example. I mean, people were unloading, bags of dog food. Said we know pets are affected by this, and people's, are needing that. So, and quite honestly, that would not have been on my priority list, but
now that you mention it,
great
idea.
So someone came in and we were helping them, and you need some toothpaste. Yes, I didn't even think about that, So it's one of those things. And then you see the state resources coming together, I mean, from all over, officers and various fire departments and things helping out. It's amazing. It like I said, it breaks your heart in one way, but on the other hand, you swell with pride because you see what Tennesseans can do, and it's amazing to how they came together for that little community. And it won't be the same. It's just been too much devastation in that little town. We as a bank are trying to reach out more and more and help. Fortunately, some people came forward to pay for funerals and things like that you typically, it happens, and you're like, well, just assume somebody will take care of it. Well, somebody has to step up, and they did that. And, it's one of those things that you just shake your head, and once you see it, I know we see pictures on television and everything, but when you sit down across the table with someone who's eating a meal for the first time that day, who hasn't had anything, and they start a conversation, it's interesting. I mean, and all you have to do is listen. I mean, a lot of people, I don't know what to do. Just listen to their story, and they'll tell you. And most of the time, they end up laughing. That was what I found very curious, was that they laughed in face of this tragedy. They still had a sense of humor about them. Says, I'm alive, and I can replace a car. I can maybe replace a house later or whatever, but my family's alive. And, of course, there were some that didn't make it. And I think you were involved, Morgan, with some of the rescue efforts there. And thank you for your service on that, by the way. I know.
I was sent up one of the days. Of course, they asked for volunteers, and every one of our officers wanted to go. We want to help. That's how you're trained. And being so embedded in our communities, we want to go help. All the time, and we're not called upon all the time. There's several rungs of government that it has to come down through to get called out to it. But we all want to go right away. Why aren't we going?
Yeah.
When can we go? But you got to get that call.
I got my boat loaded up. I'm ready.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Gassed up. Everything's running.
Your skill set and your tools that you have in your belt are different than what some other folks have. And y'all.
That's right. We're used to working out in the elements. The day I was up there last week, one Wednesday right after the flood, it was 96 degrees. We're used to working in the heat or cold weather if it was to be that. We're used to getting muddy. We're used to getting wet and working in those conditions. We had the gear to do it. We always got bug spray and sunscreen and extra and hip waders and something in our truck, or an extra change of clothes. I mean, there's days even in Marshall County where I'm not home for 2 solid days because it's a busy time of year. I bring a change of clothes. We're used to working like that. We're maybe some police departments, some aren't, and we're used to not working shift work.
Yeah, you're on call all the time.
We may work 3 hours, or we may work 16 hours. But we're used to that. We're used to changing on the fly a little bit. But yes, all the law enforcement agencies and fire departments and emergency management companies, groups, agencies coming together for the common goal was great to be a part of. And I mean, like you mentioned, the community in the face of that tragedy. I mean, we're going through there, and people who have nothing are running up to us trying to give us water, trying to give us Gatorade, trying to give us food. Thank you for helping. People coming, and this is just specific to TWRA, but we had a group of volunteers that wanted to go searching with us. I was part of a recovery search team. They wanted to go with us because one of their family members was recovered by one of our people. So they wanted to be with us.
Wow.
So, I mean, it'll choke you up.
But absolutely.
We had a meeting of all the officers that did help with those 4 or 5 days, and we all talked about our personal experiences when we were there, what happened to us. We all had little stories that none of the other guys have heard. But you start to, we're trained with blinders on to do the job, but it brought the human element in when you heard all these little
and all of you are
survival.
Human.
Yeah, that's right.
It's going to affect you one way or the other.
Not only are you trying to recover missing persons, but you're picking up photographs for people. Because you don't know who's going to ask for that.
Right.
You're picking up anything that they might have left.
Right.
Recovering pets for people. Because it kept going in the back of my head. Some little girl somewhere is wondering where her family dog is, or somebody. So these things are entering. You're trying not to do that, but it comes into play, and you got to fight through it.
And you were even mentioning earlier about some situations where a family member might not want to leave the house because their pet wasn't able to go. Whereas with our guys, you guys are used to handling animals.
Oh, yeah,
and having them around.
Let's just grab the pet carrier out of the back of the truck. We may need it.
Yeah.
That's just something we think about, and we're used to being around animals and dealing with situations like that. So we're kind of, we can add that extra element to the situation to help people.
Yeah. Well, it just shows how important a wildlife officer is to their county and to these small communities. How important banks are to hometown communities and radio stations, and everybody works together to come through and help when needed. And it's just great to see everybody coming together. And those people, they'll get through it, and they'll have some support there. So
that's right. Strong community. From the people I've met. Yeah.
Well, shifting gears just a little bit back to Danny, I want to find out a little bit more about this football season that's upon us. Friday Night Lights.
The voice of Friday Night Lights on WJJM, is that right?
Yeah, I do. I call or assist calling the Rocket football broadcast, and Craig Ladd and I are on Friday nights, and we bring that to the audience. I'm enjoying it. I'm an old coach and all, and kind of had several lives, and right when I think I'm getting out, they pull me back in. But I'm enjoying it. I'm learning a lot. Craig Ladd is a remarkable guy that is very well organized. He does his homework and does his research, and you can learn a lot from somebody like that. And I appreciate Jeff and Missy giving me the opportunity to just have fun on Friday night and watch a ball game, a high school ball game, and actually do what I do anyway. And when I'm in the stands, he should have blocked here or should.
You're that armchair quarterback, right?
Exactly. But I get that opportunity, and I'm very blessed and thankful for that. But we try to bring a little light to what's going on the field for those who are listening, and understand, it is high school football.
That's neat.
I think it would be great and be fun to do something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It's fun.
I had the opportunity to call baseball games in high school. That was fun. Play some music, and announce the players and things. It's fun to be at those events.
When I was a little kid, I always wanted to be a sports announcer.
Yeah.
I'd sit in the stands with my dad at football games, and I'd do the play-by-play.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. You made another color guy? You can be a color guy?
I know. That's it. We do it.
I wouldn't want Jeff's job, though. Basketball moves way too fast.
It does.
By the time I think to get it out of my mouth, they're on the other end of the court.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You got that one right.
Oh, man. Well, this has been fun.
It has.
Thanks again for having us here at the station.
Anytime.
Power 94. Tune it in if you're in the area, and check them out. It's been fun. Thank you, guys.
They play good music, too.
Yeah.
Good mix. Well, this is Tennessee WildCast, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.